Hey, good morning, and welcome to St. John's Lutheran Church in Fowlerville. Glad to be with you this morning. We've been looking at the story of God's foundational family as found in Genesis for a number of weeks now, and we're our final week. And this dream that God gave Joseph when he was just 17 years old was now coming true. His brothers were indeed bowing down to him and in need of his leadership in their lives. Now, 20 years had passed. Joseph was now 37, just beginning to reach that age where you start to really understand yourself. It takes a long time to become a mature person. And really, the saying is true. God isn't finished with me yet. It applies to all of us throughout our lives. And it definitely applies to Joseph and his embattled brothers who had to live with their actions of betraying him, hating him, and selling him into slavery for those 20 years. Now, Joseph was the right-hand man of the Pharaoh. He was the prince of Egypt to the king of Egypt. As is said, he went from the pit to the palace. Joseph interpreted the Pharaoh's dream too, and that interpretation proved true. He oversaw 5 good years of harvest so that Egypt could prepare for 5 years of famine that would follow. And he's 2 years into that famine when his brothers arrive in Egypt looking for food and come face to face with their brother. What a success story Joseph is. The Bible kind of glosses over all the human emotions that he might have experienced over those 20 years. I mean, think of the ups and downs in this story. Key themes from this story include family strife, betrayal, hatred, truth and lies, indecent proposals, false accusations, and other great sources of pain. Now, you've experienced these things in life. Where was God in your experience? This is where Joseph can be our teacher and our guide. Joseph believed in God and did not waver, and God granted Joseph great strength, 20 years worth of strength, to be sustained in that relationship with God, knowing that God would not disappear from his scene. And God also showered Joseph with opportunities to use his gifts, his spiritual gifts, for those 20 years. And that's really a key to life and to being sustained. Know the gifts that you have and continue to use them. Joseph had the gifts of administration and interpretation. He also had a gift of living honorably in spite of the circumstances he faced. No matter what he faced, he was always a man of honor. And ultimately, he had the gift of faith, that greatest gift. He just never gave up believing God who would help him in his present trouble. Because this is the truth. The giver is never far from the gift. And the one who blesses is never far from the blessing. The one who is merciful is never far from the mercy that is shown. Joseph knew and believed in God. He planted himself on the rock of God's foundation to live, to work, and to be. Didn't matter that I'm sure he experienced sleepless nights, tears of sorrow, great worry, and tremendous strain. Joseph relied on God and not humans. And in return, Joseph succeeded with humans because he relied on God. That is a key that we could learn to live with right now in our day. If you rely on God, you can find a way to succeed with humans, other humans, any humans, because you've relied on God. Think about that on your own. That bears some more thought. But Joseph, not unlike Jesus, shows each one of us how to face rejection. Joseph, not unlike Jesus, shows us how to face very hard circumstances. Because he shows us that God cares about you. God cares about your trouble, each individual. God is a personal God who will strengthen your person, you. So instead of relying on your own strength, instead of relying on the strength of humans alone, take everything to God. Ask God for the blessing. Ask God for success. Ask God to provide, to relieve you, and to renew whatever it is that needs to be renewed right now. And trust God, like Joseph did, to get you to the next thing, to position you to be purposeful in your living, to shower you with mercy and blessing. Even if it takes time, even if it takes 20 years. You can live with Joseph's great summation that he gave to his brothers as they asked Joseph to forgive them. Joseph said, "What you have intended for harm, God intended for good." You'll find a song, Blessings, by Laura Story, in another video that I'm going to share. It's the perfect conclusion to this message. It's not got anyone fixing the pitch or the tone, but the song is God's gift to us. And 6 months into this public health emergency, we too are being called to look to God to help us understand that this thing has caused harm, but somehow, right now, God is bringing good. I pray that you will look for blessing and for mercy each day of the week ahead and your whole life long. I pray God's blessing on you. Amen.